made left side by Sorensen. Dirty Dan all the way to the end zone. Sammy Watkins tastes the sweet nectar of the end zone for the second time in this game.
Hey, that's dope.
Prime time on Sunday Night Football here at Arrowhead Stadium. The Chiefs will be in red on red. Fans will be excited. Nearly 80,000 will be packed into this stadium to get things going. It is Legends Night here at Arrowhead Stadium, which means Brian Waters will be inducted into the Chiefs Ring of Honor and Hall of Fame at halftime today. And we will catch up with him here in a little bit here on Field Pass. I'm Chiefs reporter BJ Kissel coming to you alongside 10-year NFL veteran Shawn Barber. Had a chance to play here for the Chiefs. Shawn, a lot to be excited about tonight. This is going to be a good one.
Man, I'm on fire. I got the red on red. Can't wait, man. This is going to be turned up out here tonight, man. Sunday Night Football, only game on the map. Everybody watching. Man, let's go, man. Excited.
Right. You've got the 4-0 Kansas City Chiefs, the 2-2 Indianapolis Colts. This is basically a rematch of the AFC divisional game last year that the Chiefs won pretty handily, and it's fair to say that the Colts probably haven't forgotten about that game.
No, definitely not. Spending all season with who they thought was going to be their quarterback, Andrew Luck, preparing for this game week 5, and then right before the season start, had him retire. And do they reel? Do they go into a shell? No. They come out the corner fighting. Ripping off 2 out of 2 behind my man, Jacoby Brissett.
Yeah, and we've got a great show for you, just like we always do. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. Like I said, we're going to catch up with Brian Waters in a little bit. Matt McMullen, our other team reporter, caught up with Chris Collinsworth, who's going to be on the call for NBC tonight, and he breaks down the 2 quarterbacks. And then, as always, we'll send it up to Voice of the Chiefs, Mitch HOLTHUS, and Kendall GAMMON to help break this one down as well. We'll give you all the latest injury updates, all the top storylines, and all that good stuff. And we'll even break down a little film for you here with Shawn Barber showing us a little bit, teaching us all a little bit about the game. This one should be a lot of fun, Shawn.
No doubt. Being a linebacker, 10 years in the NFL, there's a lot going up in his mind. I'm ready to let y'all know how we break down the film one play at a time.
All right, now we appreciate, again, everybody for tuning in, whether you're watching on Facebook, YouTube, the Chiefs app, Twitter, Periscope, wherever it is. We appreciate all you for watching. And I want to give a quick shout-out, now we got your attention here for a second, to Anna Tobkin, one of the people behind the scenes. She is the one that makes this entire show go, and she's the one who led this. And the fact that last night we were all honored with a Mid-America Emmy Award for this show, actually for the episode last year in the AFC divisional game against the Indianapolis Colts. There's a lot of people that allow Field Pass that happen behind the scenes, people you don't see, multiple people all the time. Glenn Conley, we got Greg, we got all the producers that help us out, and we appreciate everybody for being a part of it, particularly Anna for absolutely killing it. She's the one that allows you guys to see what you see and see what it looks like. That is all Anna, and we appreciate all of her work back there. Now, Shawn, now you ready to break this thing down?
Man, let's do it.
All right, I'm going to get a litlittle fired up right now because I saw a stat the other day and I had to start digging into it. So I saw a stat that last year the Chiefs were 2-4 in primetime games and 14-0 in all their other games, as a reason to think this is going to be what the Indianapolis Colts, this is going to build some excitement, some hope for this one. And I want to dig a little further into those games. In those games, the Chiefs averaged 38 points per game scored, and they went 2-4, but they allowed 41 points per game in those primetime games. And you're always going up against a good opponent in primetime games. And the reason that they made so many changes on the defensive side of the football was because they were allowing 41 points per game. And this year it's just 23. Through 4 games, what have you seen from the Chiefs defense that's different this year than it was a year ago?
Well, I've seen a team that's ready to communicate and trust one another. That trust and communication goes so far on the defense side of the ball, especially when it's prime time. Prime time, the crowd gets into it. It's loud. You can barely hear yourself thinking. But your teammates, you can see a lot of hand signals. But you got to kind of know what each other is thinking before the ball is snapped so that we don't give up that many points. And as you can tell, our quarterback, Showtime Mahomes, is always going to be ready for prime time. So there's no doubt our offense is going to be ready. Our defense is going to be prepared to play this year.
Yeah, and I think you look at Jacoby Brissett, a quarterback who has some experience, but this is a different atmosphere. This is a different environment. I know they got the silent counts, but delay of games, tackles jumping off sides, that extra half count that Frank Clark and those guys coming off the edge are going to get. It is all going to be fun to watch tonight. And you talk about the challenge the Chiefs have. A lot of it for at least the defensive side of the ball is containing this Colts rushing game, and we're going to break that down in a minute. But we had to get some news because Marlon Mack, the top running back for the Colts, was questionable coming into this game. To find out if he's going to play tonight, right now we're going to throw it to Chiefs reporter Matt McMullen, who's got our inactives for tonight.
Thanks, BJ. Well, yes, Marlon Mack is active here tonight for the Colts. He's a big boost to that Colts backfield that has the 6th most rushing yards in the NFL right now, so big news right there for them. Elsewhere on that offense, T.Y. Hilton, the electric wide receiver, he is active here tonight for the Colts. He missed last week's game against the Raiders, a game the Colts lost. I think it's a big reason they lost that game is that he wasn't out there, so big news for them having him available here tonight as well. They do have some big losses on the defensive side of the ball, though. All-pro linebacker Darius Leonard will not play tonight, and starting safeties Clayton Geathers and Malik Hooker are also inactive here tonight, so big losses there on that Colts defense. For the Chiefs, Damian Williams was missed the last few weeks with that knee injury. He's active here tonight, so big news there. Joining the Chiefs backfield that has Darrell Williams and, of course, LaShawn McCoy, who played really well in his stead. And then Sammy Watkins, who was a late addition to the injury report this week. He's active here tonight as well. But, BJ, back to your original point, Marlon Mack active here tonight for the Colts. We'll see how the Chiefs can slow down this running attack here tonight. BJ, back to you.
Thanks, Matt. Good stuff. Well, now that we know Marlon Mack is going to get it going, he's 6th in the league in rushing right now. The only guy in the league right now as a running back who has more 20-yard runs than Marlon Mack is Dalvin Cook. He's the only guy. He's the guy that can get after it in this running game. When you watch Marlon Mack on film, what stands out?
His attention to detail. He stays with the O-line. He stays with the hole and presses the hole, and then when he gets to that second and third level, he explodes like he's out of a cannon. That's why you see those big chunk plays. He's not afraid to take a play for 1 yard, 2 yard, and then all of a sudden he takes a little seam in our defense and explodes for 15 or 20 yards downfield. Yeah. We got to make sure to keep that guy under wraps by swarming to the ball, all 11 hats on the ball.
Yeah, and that's a storyline in this game. It's always going to be a storyline when the Chiefs have struggled against the run like they have. Right now they're 31st in the league, giving up 150 yards on the ground. But when defensive coordinator Steve Spagnuolo was asked about the run defense this week in context of their game last week against the Detroit Lions, he actually said when they graded out the second half of that game, he felt like their defense won 61% of the running plays. The problem is that the five of the losses they had led to 68 rushing yards. It's not the fact that they weren't doing well, it's that when they didn't do well, it was a chunk play down the field. They've got to correct that today against the guy in Marlon Mack who gets to the second level. He can make something happen, get chunk yards for that offense.
Yeah, he's known for that. So like you said, those chunk plays, there he is right there, Marlon Mack coming down the tunnel. We got to contain him. He's one of those wild players. He's one of those game crushers, game breakers. Between him and T.Y. Hilton, man, those are guys that you just got to keep under wraps. They got a couple other running backs, Williams and Hines, but Mack is the guy we really want to focus on.
Yeah, and he's the one that gets things going. And right now, let's take a quick look at this Colts running game and what makes them so special. In this first play, we're going to look at right here, Shawn. This is the play we're going to watch 4 times, starting with center Ryan Kelly. What makes this play so successful?
Man, Ryan Kelly, first-round draft pick by Bama, man. He does a great job of just riding that shoulder, continue to stay to that shoulder, and that allows that running back to get that corner. So after that, we got Quentin Nelson. Quentin Nelson's a guard. Stud guard, second year out of University of Notre Dame. He uses his quickness and power like no other. And then we got number 74, Anthony Castano, the guy from BC. He seals the edge, lets that vertical lane go. And last but not least, my man Braden Smith, the tight end. He goes in motion. He has a kick-out block. That kick-out block sets him free, and the rest of it is all Marlon Mack.
Yeah, that is Marlon. That is a good example right there of a lot of guys doing work. Here's the other one, Braden Smith, the guy you were just talking about, right tackle, former Olathe South Falcon right here. Look at him get out on this angle, know where he's supposed to go, know the angle he's got to make that block. It's the reason this play was successful.
Yeah, and then like we said, Marlon Mack does the rest of it. That little seam right there, and then he explodes to it. And now he's in the second level, now the third level. Third level guys have no chance of bringing down a monster like this.
Yeah, and we see this offensive line. They're big, they're physical, they get after it. They're not going to do things like the Lions tried to do to Chris Jones last week right here. This is a tough block for a center to try to get across and get in front of Chris Jones. We're not going to see Chris Jones get an opportunity like that tonight.
No, the O-line for the Colts is going to be way too confident and too tricky to do that. But look at this linebacker get downhill.
That is beautiful run defense.
That is the way it's supposed to be played. The A-gap is taken by my man Hitchens. Wilson comes off of his own guy's butt, makes a tackle for loss. That's exciting.
We'll get it one more time for you because I know you're excited watching this.
Oh, man, this is Chiefs' defensive run defense right here. We need to emulate that every time we can on the field.
Yeah, Damian Wilson coming down and filling right there. That is exactly the way that you want to see it. But moving on to our next thing to watch right here, it's the easy one that we talk about every week. It's Patrick Mahomes in this passing attack going up against a Colts defense that they have got some injuries. We just heard from Matt earlier that Malik Hooker and Clayton Geathers are both out. Those are their 2 starting safeties.
Yeah.
So for the Colts, they're going to have Kari Willis and George Odom starting at safety. Those guys have 3 combined NFL starts.
I was going to say, I don't even know those guys.
George Odom's been a solid special teams player. Kari Willis is a rookie 4th-round pick, and they're coming into a Sunday night football game against the reigning MVP in this league that's setting all kinds of NFL records in the passing game. And we've seen Andy Reid be so good at designing plays. We've seen blown coverages from great defenses like the Jacksonville Jaguars. Remember Sammy Watkins leaking out wide open down the field because they didn't see that play coming. And then we saw it in Oakland Raiders. We saw another play design that allowed Demarcus Robinson to get wide open down the field, and that is going up against starting NFL safeties, not guys that have 3 games experience. That's a storyline for this game. Not to say they can't go out there and make plays, but if I'm a betting man, I'm going to say that Patrick Mahomes go out there and do his thing because these guys might not know what's in store for him right now.
Man, we talk about a cover 2 shell they're going to try to run. The most important position in the cover 2 shell is the 2 safeties and your Mike linebacker. Yep. Without Darius Leonard, without the 2 starting safeties, it's like going to be, man, it's going to be open game. That cover 2 shell is going to be like this pitching barrels, in, like Mahomes does. Coach Reid having the knowledge of how to break down using the vertical seams, knowing the check downs. I don't think you can run that defense consistently against our offense with as many weapons we have and think that you're going to hold us out of the end zone.
Yeah, and let's be fair. Like every defense runs you can't just run the same defense every time. They're going to pick you apart. Everybody mixes things up. But for a defense that predominantly runs cover 2 and that they like to run that Tampa 2 where they get Darius Leonard to cover that seam and carry that seam and be so athletic that when you don't have that guy in that position that's that athletic, it weakens that scheme if you don't have a guy that can do those types of things. And then when you combine that with the success that Patrick Mahomes has throwing the ball down the middle of the field. And thanks to our friends over at Pro Football Focus, we actually have a graphic right here that shows how successful Mahomes is at throwing the ball to the middle of the field. If you can see those numbers, he's completing 87% of his passes between the numbers, which means right down the middle of the field. And 81% of his passes down the middle beyond 20 yards. So those 2 deep safeties and that linebacker trying to carry the middle, you're going up against the quarterback that is deadly throwing against other team starters, and now you've got backups. That's the reason you've got to feel good about this. And when you talk about the middle of the field, you've got to talk about Travis Kelce in this Colts defense, because this Colts defense the last 2 weeks, 19 receptions, 161 yards, and 3 touchdowns to opposing tight ends. So you're talking about that. You give me Travis Kelce all day long.
Man, Kelce's big. Controlling the middle of the field, having control over those safeties in that linebacker position. Using the short game to Kelce to open up the running lanes is something I plan on seeing the Chiefs doing early and often. This is going to be such a big day for Pat Mahomes and Travis Kelce.
Hey, Kelce's always fired up. He's going to be fired up. His birthday. He turned 30 just on Friday, I believe it was. This is a birthday guy, and we've talked a lot about a lot of guys starting off the season with phenomenal seasons. We saw Sammy Watkins week 1, then Demarcus Robinson's turn, and Mecole Hardman gets in the mix. Travis Kelce's off to another solid start, and I know we talked about it before the season, but he is in rarefied air among other NFL tight ends in the pace. We just saw a couple weeks ago that he got to 425 career receptions and 5,500 career receiving yards faster than any other tight end in NFL history. Well, if he gets 1,000 yards this season, when he turned 30 years old, he's going to have 4 straight 1,000-yard seasons, which has never happened in NFL history. And I went down a rabbit hole the other night, Sean, and started looking up some stats because I wanted to look at guys like Antonio Gates and Tony Gonzalez, how they performed after turning 30 years old. What were those next, like 31 to 34 years old, what were those seasons like? Those guys, 112 career touchdowns, and those 2 guys combined to play 60 out of 64 games.
Gotcha.
So they were consistent. They stayed on the field as a tight end in that era of football where now it's a little safer. They keep the guys a little bit safer now. But you're talking about Travis Kelce starting to enter that discussion of being one of those tight ends that you talk about in greatest of all time. That discussion has to start if he keeps this up.
I think it begins with his training and his off-season regimen. Coming to training camp early. He was one of the first guys to attend even when the rookies were there to make sure he was there ready when it was time to go. So he's taking care of his body nutrition-wise. He's prepared for a 16 game season and postseason. And he wants to make sure he's playing at his highest level in every game.
Yeah, and let's take a quick look at what makes Travis Kelce so special when you're designing plays. You see him right here spotlighted. This is Myles Jack in man-on-man coverage. It's one of the best linebackers in football, and this is an easy throw and catch from Patrick Mahomes to Travis Kelce.
Man, Myles Jack is faster than I am, and he didn't stand a chance in that play versus Kelce.
So that was against the linebacker. Let's check out the Jags game. He is lined up there. We saw him highlighted. A.J. Bowie, a cornerback. And you've got the 2 guys, Sammy and and Tyreek run those guys off. You have Travis outrunning a cornerback right here.
Yeah, the special thing he did was he adjusted that over route and got more depth when he realized the other linebacker was sucking up to take the running back.
Yep.
Great adjustment by Kelsey. Greater throw by Pat Mahomes.
Yeah, that's a perfect example of those guys being in sync and being on the same page. And this play right here is just about the details. These are little things that a lot of people might not notice. 3rd and 6, he runs his route past the sticks, comes back when the ball's in the air, comes back to the ball, and then immediately turns to get upfield to get the first down. The ability for him right at the top of his stem to keep coming back towards the ball allows the defender not to make a play right there. That's another reason that makes him special.
And he ran it deep enough to allow him to have 3 or 4 yards after possession to make sure we got the first down, keep those sticks moving. Our guys, their IQ, we're playing right now like we're just a little bit smarter than everyone else in the league.
Yeah, I think we are a little bit smarter because we have Andy Reid, and that's why we can feel like we're smarter than everybody else. And Andy Reid, being as smart as he is, knows that none of this stuff matters with Patrick Mahomes or Travis Kelce if they don't protect him, which is why protecting Mahomes is our 3rd point today. And right now, to start this thing off, and one of the cool stats and trends to follow in this game tonight is that Patrick Mahomes needs 235 yards passing without an interception to set the NFL record for most passing yards to start a season without an interception. And again, he's not going to be able to do that if he's not getting proper protection. So let's take a look at how it's a complete team effort when it comes to protection right here. And right now we're going to look at this first play against the Raiders. You got Cam Irving. You can see him raise his right arm, points out to Andrew Wiley, the guy next to him, his left guard, that the Cleveland Farrell is stunting, doing a twist around to the backside A-gap. He gets just enough hand on him to allow Mahomes to make that throw.
But wait, hold on 1 second. Let's not forget my man Damian Williams.
Yeah.
He picks up that 3rd element, that linebacker blitz, and without him buying Mahomes another second, it wouldn't have been done.
Yeah, everybody's going to give credit to Mahomes for the throw, but that's not what makes that one special. Everybody's got to work together, and just like Mahomes right here feeling this.
Right now, Pat, he floats a little bit out to his left to buy himself a few more seconds, and I talked to my man D-Rob on this play. He wasn't even supposed to be in the end zone. It was supposed to be a short route.
But watch my guy Cam Irving. This is like the Cupid shuffle. Go to the left, to the left, to the right, to the right, to the left, to the left. That is a big man sliding on dirt. That is the backup left tackle being thrown into that situation. That, to me, is special right there. And then right here we've got another example of beating the pressure. This is Damian Williams. He's going to run a shoot route out here. Patrick Mahomes gets it to him quickly. These guys have to know that they're always available.
Well, you got to know when you're the hot route. And whenever that blitz comes, they avoid an area, so the other area becomes a hot route. And over here we have the D-line, the 2 guys.
Yeah. You see the defensive end on the other side. He drops to take the hot route on the opposite side. Mahomes throws right over the blitz. They get the first down. It's another example of everybody being involved in pass protection, because if Damian Williams doesn't turn around and Pat doesn't want to throw that, he holds on to it. He ends up taking that sack because that other defensive end's coming unblocked. So that's another example of everybody's got to be on the same page. So sacks aren't always just offensive line stats. They're always not just Patrick Mahomes stats. It's everybody doing everything they've got to do to be on top of it. It's one of the things Travis Kelce told me this offseason, that they spent a lot of time doing all those side workouts, talking to Mahomes, saying, you just put up ridiculous numbers. Some teams this season are going to send extra pressure. They're going to blitz you. We have to always have an answer for who's the hot guy on any particular play. And right there was a good example of Damian Williams knowing he's the guy, pick up 8 yards on first down to get a big play. And if the Chiefs can do that, they're going to hang close. But right now, Shawn, we're going to send it to Mitch Holthus, voice of the Chiefs, and he's going to talk about what the Colts might try to do if they're going to try and pick up the upset here at Arrowhead against this Chiefs team.
Well, BJ, I'm going to tell you how the Colts can upset the Chiefs, and that is their mindset. Chris Ballard has taken the Chiefs' blueprint, Kendall, and moved it to Indianapolis, and you saw that last year in the way that they rallied from a 1-5 start to get to the playoffs and lose to the Chiefs here in the divisional playoff game. But Frank Reich is the same way. He came out and said as much. He goes, yeah, they can be beat. Anybody in this league can be beat. So the Colts will come in here with a tough mindset.
Yeah, they really will. And I think the confidence they have in Jacoby Brissett, who's taking over for Andrew Luck. I mean, they believe in him, and he's doing some good things. I think that, along with the recipe that we've seen, which is run the ball, something that with Marlon Mack, if he is healthy, will make a big difference in. But if they can control that, they stand a good job of slowing you slow this offense down by not having them on the field. So when they're on the field, I don't think you slow them down very much. But if you can keep them off the field, you've got a chance.
I'm encouraged by this Chiefs defense tonight. I'm really interested to see them play. I think they're going to play much better. But you mentioned the Colt running game. Now, one thing that's different about the Colt running game is they can hit home runs in the running game. Marlon Mack has a 63-yard touchdown. Jordan Wilkins has a 55-yard touchdown. Nyheim Hines is a really good third down back. But a 12-yard gain normally might be a 62-yard gain and a touchdown.
Yeah, and that's such a big thing. When you have the long speed where you can turn that chunk into a touchdown, that's scary from a defense side of things. You didn't talk about it. T.Y. Hilton expected to play tonight, so that would be big. But I think the other thing that when you talk about how Indy could do well is this offensive line for Indianapolis. Last year they came into the playoffs and they were supposed to be great, and everybody talked about them, and really Kansas City handled them a little bit. I think they probably have a chip on their shoulder tonight.
I agree with that, and the left side is really good. The right side, Braden Smith, former Olathe South Falcon, is their right tackle, came into the league as a guard, but Glowinski struggled at right guard. We'll see if the Chiefs can exploit that. And then quickly on offense, the Chiefs are back getting some more troops. To have Damian Williams in the mix tonight with Darrell Williams, with Shady McCoy, I'm excited to see what Big Red has to mix and match.
Yeah, I think with the defensive backfield, those top two safeties out, that you're going to see, in my estimation, the tight end, you're going to see Travis Kelce down the middle a lot to test them. And then the other thing I think it does also is when you have safeties go down, all of a sudden now your special teams go down a little bit also. And you're going to have guys playing in special teams for Indianapolis that normally don't play. As you got a chance for big plays, I think, from Kansas City.
And finally, for 8 years, he was patrolling for the Chiefs at defensive end, but Justin Houston is excited to play for the Colts tonight. Remember, he had 2 sacks for the Chiefs against the Colts in the divisional playoff game. Protection for Mahomes.
Yeah, no doubt about it. He's only got 1 sack this year, so he's not tearing it up, but he is a solid player in his 9th year, I think, right now. And certainly, he's not saying anything. He's saying all the right things, but he wants to do well, no doubt.
And Mahomes can make more history tonight. This place will be going crazy. Plus, make sure you get your cell phones ready to go because we'll also make history from that standpoint. Chiefs and Colts should be good, BJ.
And we're down here right now with a guy who made plenty of history during his 11 years with the Kansas City Chiefs. 6 Pro Bowls, multiple All-Pro honors, and obviously talking about Brian Waters, who's going into the Chiefs Hall of Fame and Ring of Honor at halftime today. But Brian, before you go into the Hall of Fame, you get to get things started with the drum ceremony, get this crowd fired. Not that they need any more reason to get fired up on a Sunday night football game, but how much are you looking forward to getting that up on that the GEHA drum deck, get things going?
Well, actually, I've done it before, but it wasn't up there, so that's going to be interesting. Not that I'm afraid of heights or anything, but it would be. I'm sure it's going to be a fun time, and just to be able to see the stadium from a total different view, and I've never seen it before, so it should be fun.
No doubt. Well, I wanted to ask you your transition to the league. You start out at North Texas as a defensive end and tight end. So how do you make that transition from that side of the ball to now becoming an offensive stability, stable guy, one of the all-time greats?
Well, sometimes things are not by choice, but by force.
And
so when the opportunity came and I didn't have a whole bunch of other things going on, so after I got cut, I was just like, hey, an NFL team wants to take a shot on me, I'm going to take that shot. And obviously, playing next to great players like Will and Willie and Casey and John, learning from those guys and just using my athletic ability and my natural strength and just trying to catch up as much as possible, man. It turned out well for me, for sure.
Well, you talk about some other guys that played beside you, but I've had you wrap your arms around my neck a few times and choke me out on practices.
Do we need to settle this right now?
No,
we need to figure it out?
No more. I don't want no more.
He earned every bit of it.
I don't doubt that. The guy's decked out red on red. He's got it going tonight. But Brian, one thing, I caught up with Will earlier this week, and it's funny to talk to the guy that was established in this league. He was doing so well. Pro Football Hall of Famer, and we asked him like what he can learn from watching you. He said there's certain he had to be so technical. He didn't have the natural strength. He goes, I'd watch him do things that I just couldn't physically do. You just take guys and just throw them off to the side. It wasn't always the prettiest, but it always got the job done. Just for you making that transition off, what was the hardest part about making the transition to the offensive line?
Well, I think really learning all the schemes. Back then, different from now, there was just so many schemes. Our offense was all about trying to mix it up and give you a different look all the time. So for offensive linemen, you have to communicate between 5 guys, the quarterback, the running back. It's just a lot to learn all those intimate details, but you don't really have much choice in playing next to those guys. If you don't have it, they won't let you be on the football field. So I had to catch up real quick.
Offensive line is deemed as one of the smartest positions. It hurts for me to say that as a linebacker, but O-line is one of the smartest positions on the field. Tell me your thoughts about this team's quarterback, Pat Mahomes.
Man, I mean, look, he's a Texas guy, so right away, he's already a great football player. But, you know, look, everybody knows the arm talent. Everybody knows this guy's abilities are, off the charts. But I think the great thing about him is, as you see him grow as a leader, and really as managing the end of the games, those are going to be the things we're going to see his greatness get even better as the game goes on, or as his time goes on in the game. But, you know, he's surrounded by really good football players that are going to make him look good, but he's going to make a lot of football players look really good. So they got a star here. There's a real star. And they just, you know, everybody else has got to, you know, keep up with him. I think he can definitely take this team not only to one, multiple opportunities here. I think if we got a window here, we can really take advantage of it.
Music to the ears of Chiefs fans. Brian, before we let you go, we know you got a lot of things going on today. It's a special night for you and all the legends that are back. But and it's a loaded question, but just what does it mean to you that your name is going to be up there and all the time, the blood, sweat, the tears, the sweat equity you put into this organization? What's it going to mean when you see your name up there?
Well, my brothers, you know, I have 3 younger brothers, and they all play football. And they have this little saying they used to say, and I never really paid attention to it. But they said if you can ball, they put your name on the wall. So I really, you know, appreciate the fact that many times I sat out there before the game and looked up there and saw the guys that I knew. Some of them are older, and now I get to, you know, look up there and see guys that I played with right alongside with my own. So I'm definitely supremely honored by the choice that not only the Hunt family but the selection committee made.
Well, on behalf of all Chiefs fans, I know we're all looking forward to it. Most of us grew up in the era of watching you guys going out there doing your thing and watching that offensive line do their work. So we appreciate your time and congratulations.
No, thank you.
And right now we are going to send it to Matt McMullen, who earlier this week had a chance to catch up with Chris Collinsworth
I thought he was off the camera.
to talk a little Jacoby Brissett and Patrick Mahomes. And while you guys are enjoying that, these guys are going to figure it out.
Thanks, BJ. Well, Chris, when the Colts first lost Andrew Luck to his retirement last August, there were questions about how competitive they could be this year. I think Jacoby Brissett's answered those here so far, though. Touchdown passes in every game so far, and also was tied with Patrick Mahomes for the most touchdown passes in the league right now. So what's impressed you most about him so far through 4 games?
If I'm not mistaken, I think he's the only one in the league that's had at least 2 in every game. I might be wrong on that one, but I think I'm right. I'm usually right. No, I'm just kidding. They had, but Jacoby Brissett is an interesting guy. He's big. He will run, but he's not a runner. He is. I think of Ben Roethlisberger. You know how Ben can stand in the pocket and just sort of guys come at him and he goes, and he just like pushes them off, you know, and then he stands there and throws the ball, that kind of stuff. He has some of that stuff, and the guys really love him. But you also have to remember that, you know, Andrew Luck was hurt the whole offseason and the whole training camp. So when they were getting ready for the season, it was all Jacoby Brissett. You know, Luck was back there, and he was still a presence, and he was all that kind of stuff. But it was Brissett who was getting him in and out of the huddle, who was starting every game. And so by the time they got to the regular season, having Jacoby Brissett in there was no big deal. You know, and this is a guy also got some training from Belichick and from Brady. And he's still a young guy. I mean, I really do think that people were sort of writing off the Colts. But this is a Colts team that has a lot of good things, including a great offensive line. In particular, the left side of that offensive line is tremendous.
You mentioned about Brissett. He's been around a little bit. I think people forget he started 15 games back in 2017 when Luck was hurt. How has he grown since then?
He's better. He really is better. And he'll be a lot better if T.Y. Hilton plays. So, you know, that's kind of one of the keys. But I just think he's a guy that kind of gets it. You know, he's doesn't have a big ego. He wants to do right by the team. I think Frank Reich has proven to be one of the better play callers in the game. They have a really good running football team. So it sets up a lot of play action, sets up a lot of things that make it difficult to defend. And they're not the Kansas City Chiefs. I mean, let's not go crazy here, right? I mean, they don't have all the options. They're not going to spread the field vertically, horizontally, all the things that Chiefs do. But they're not bad.
Flip it over to our quarterback really fast, Patrick Mahomes. Leads the league in almost every passing category. MVP last year, obviously. Has he surprised you at all, or do you expect this from him this year?
Nothing this kid does surprise me. He's such a good guy. Isn't he a good guy? You go in there, you meet with him. Like, where do you come from, man? What planet are you from? Some of the things, like, you look at the no-look passes and you go, okay, yeah, that was cool. But he's doing it with a purpose. You know, he's doing it where this is a zone defense, and that Mike linebacker's right there, and my guy's about to loop in behind him. So if I look over here, he's going to edge or at least lean that way, and I'm going to throw it there. So it's not like I'm looking here and throwing there, which he does sometimes. It's more like he's looking here and throwing there. So that guy drifts just a bit, and all of a sudden that receiver that wasn't open is open. And so there's a functionality to what he's doing that I don't think a lot of people understand. I think that you have to give him credit. I think he's a very smart guy. I think he's been around football and professional football and big name guys his whole life. And he's sort of seen the subtlety of greatness. You know, greatness is not always a guy that can throw it out of the stadium, which he can also do. But there's a thought out thing. You know, Brett Favre, for all his stuff, was also one of the first guys to do sort of the RPO stuff. Mm-hmm. The minute he saw an open receiver with off coverage, well, I'm not going to hand it off to that guy. I'm just going to throw it out there. Mm-hmm. And their coaches would go crazy. What are you doing? You're driving me nuts, right? But there was a functionality that has expanded throughout the league now. And I think Patrick is going to drag a lot of people in that direction too. I think Patrick is going to be a guy that other quarterbacks start going, well, okay, my whole life I've been taught to step into the throw and look where I'm throwing it and all that kind of stuff. But look at what he's doing.
Hey, before we get to kick off here in about 15 minutes, Shawn and I are going to wrap this up, and we're going to take a look around the AFC West real quick because there have been some surprises,
to say the least,
so far today. And this, starting with the Oakland Raiders beating the Chicago Bears. How about that?
What? The Bears go across to London, across the big pond, and get beat up by the Raiders? The Raiders had a day, 3-2.
You can't tell
Second place.
Can't tell me John Gruden's not smiling that whole trip back after trading Khalil Mack to the Bears, and they were able to go and get that victory. Probably meant a little bit more as the Raiders now 3-2, which is impressive for them considering the offseason that they had, especially the last couple of months. And the other surprise, the Denver Broncos got a victory, and they got it over the Los Angeles Chargers.
The Chargers supposed to have been the number 2 team in the AFC West. They lose to a winless Denver team. Big first win for Vic Fangio.
Yeah, they took a lead. The Chargers in that first half. Melvin Gordon's back. Everybody a big deal about that. First half, they were averaging under 2 yards a carry. That became a deal for them in that one, but we got them in a couple of weeks there on Thursday Night Football. Another game that stood out before we wrap this one up was the Houston Texans, who come to Arrowhead next week. They go out and put on a clinic over the Atlanta Falcons, put up 53 points.
Man, over 80 points both teams put up. Deshaun Watson and Will Fuller both having monster days. Our defense definitely, after we take care of business tonight, we definitely got to prepare for those Houston Texans.
And the Chiefs have been taking care of business here at Arrowhead Stadium for a while now. They've won 26 of their last 31 games, and this one is a milestone victory for Coach Reid. If they're able to get it, this would be his 200th career regular season victory. A lot to look forward to in this one for a lot of different reasons. But Shawn, do you have any final thoughts for us before we let everybody go?
Hey man, I got dressed up in this red on red. I'm on fire. I got my all white and red.
You can't find these anywhere.
Jordan flights. You try to find a pair of those, tag me at Shawn Barber 59, and I'll try to get you some tickets.
There you go. Now the Chiefs have another chance, not prove it, but to earn it, and to earn that title of being one of the top teams in the AFC tonight. Sunday Night Football, prime time, red on red, all the good stuff. We appreciate everybody for watching. You watch the game on NBC. Afterwards, check out Chiefs Rewind with Shawn Barber and voice of the Chiefs, Mitch HOLTHUS. They'll have exclusive interviews with Coach Reid, some of the stars of the game on both sides of the ball. A lot of good stuff to pay attention to there. For everybody involved with Field Pass, we appreciate you watching. Enjoy the game, Chiefs Kingdom.